What are you seeing in the automotive markets right now, specifically to China, which has been open a bit longer and demand seems to be coming back, and both here in the US and Europe?
Yeah, first of all, good morning and thanks, David. It's actually a pleasure for me to be on right here and now, because as you just said, I mean, I'm literally rushing out of our annual general shareholders meeting where I got a fantastic vote of confidence for indeed being the CEO now for 45 minutes for NXP. A great moment after being for 25 years with the company and being 11 years member of the executive management team. So indeed, that's a great moment. A pity we have to do it in this virtual way, but still, I'm really glad for having the opportunity today. Speaking about auto, yes, this is about 50% of NXP's revenue, so a very, very important piece, and also from a future perspective, an absolute growth area for us if you think about radar, safer driving, or battery management in electric vehicles. Now, on a short-term basis, as you rightfully said, clearly the COVID-19 pandemic has had significant impact at the end of quarter 1 and then going into quarter 2 from a factory shutdown perspective of the auto OEMs. But yes, it is phased. So the good news is that we see China coming back in the second quarter. So in April already, but now also in May with the first car sales numbers, which we are seeing from China, it looks like that China shows car sales, which is for the first time for many quarters, up year on year. And that is obviously in contrast to the US and Europe, where the factory shutdowns really started only in April. While Europe has restarted car production, I'd say in the first half of May, excuse me, the US just have restarted in the last week or so. It's always hard to say what the right numbers are, but I just saw IHS was telling us that they expect that at the end of quarter 2, the car production in Europe and the US should be like 65% of the pre-COVID period. So that is still sharply down. But again, China, in contrast, is coming up. And the great news is that China is the largest geography globally when it comes to car production. And also for us, we have a significant exposure on China. So that's very helpful.
You know, when you mention China, of course, Kurt, it also is figuring into a lot of investor concerns in terms of trade between our country and China. Do you share any of those concerns in terms of perhaps the U.S. government saying that your production to some extent is not able to be going to China? I don't know how much of it is produced in the country, but give me some sense there as to whether this is a concern at all for you.
Well, I mean, we've been living in this more trade-tensioned world now for quite a while. We always comply to all the export control regulations from the U.S., but even the latest ones, which came out just a couple of days ago, it looks like we don't really see a material impact from that. So far, we are faring well. But honestly, this is a very dynamic world. And I mean, I don't know what's going to be next. So we are watching this very closely, always to make sure that we can be compliant with the rules.